Modern commercial aviation operates on a layer of constant, overlapping tracking systems. An aircraft in flight broadcasts its identity, speed, and altitude to multiple receivers every few seconds. A modern airliner is not designed to simply vanish. The evening of March 8, 2014, began as a routine departure. A standard red-eye passenger flight was scheduled for a 6-hour journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The aircraft assigned to the route was a Boeing 777, a massive twin-engine wide-body jet carrying 239 passengers and crew. To that point, the 777 was known for a safety record that was almost entirely spotless. For the first 40 minutes, the flight proceeded exactly according to the filed plan. The aircraft reached its assigned cruising altitude of 35,000 feet, flying north over the calm waters of the South China Sea. At 1:19 a.m., Malaysian Air Traffic Control instructed the cockpit to contact the next sector in Vietnam. The captain acknowledged the handoff with a routine sign-off. "Good night, Malaysian 370. 2 minutes later, the aircraft's transponder, the device that actively broadcasts its location to civilian radar, stopped functioning. In an instant, flight MH370 blinked off civilian air traffic control screens, leaving the controllers in both Malaysia and Vietnam looking at empty air. For investigators, this silence narrowed the possibilities. Because transponders require either a total loss of power or a manual override to stop broadcasting, their sudden absence meant this wasn't a mid-air breakup or a sudden explosion. The aircraft was still a single physical object. It had simply gone dark. While civilian air traffic control relies on the transponder's active signal, military primary radar operates differently. It bounces raw radio waves off the physical mass of an object in the sky, regardless of whether that object wants to be tracked. Classified military radar logs recorded the aircraft's physical echo. Instead of continuing north to Beijing, the Boeing 777 executed a sharp 180-degree left hook. The aircraft crossed back over the Malay Peninsula, flying directly along the boundary between Malaysia and Thailand. By threading the needle between national borders, the aircraft avoided triggering military airspace alarms in either country. It then pushed northwest, out over the vast expanse of the Andaman Sea, leaving all terrestrial radar coverage behind. At 2:22 a.m., at the extreme edge of its range, the military radar finally lost the physical echo of the aircraft. This complex navigation suggests the aircraft remained under active, conscious control. By evading standard commercial corridors and navigating national borders, the aircraft was being steered away from the eyes of the world. With the voice radios and transponder dead, the flight appeared entirely shut down. Yet, deep within the aircraft's avionics bay, the baseline satellite communication hardware remained active, quietly searching for a network connection. This hardware was communicating with an Inmarsat satellite over the Indian Ocean. The system performed automated handshakes, a simple electronic ping between the plane's data unit and the ground station, sent once every hour. By analyzing the minute timing and frequency shifts of these pings, physicists were able to calculate the trajectory of the aircraft. The mathematics showed the flight had turned into a southern corridor. For 6 hours, those hourly pings traced a path deep into the southern Indian Ocean, heading into a remote, desolate region, far from any landmass or shipping lane. At 08:19 a.m., the pattern broke. The aircraft transmitted a partial, unexpected log-on request, interrupting the hourly sequence. Investigators believe this ping was a system reboot. When the main engines flame out from fuel exhaustion, the backup generator automatically attempts to restore power to the satellite link one final time. This sequence provided a mathematical skeleton for the flight's final hours. When combined with the known fuel capacity of a Boeing 777, the data pointed toward a singular conclusion. The aircraft maintained a steady, southerly course on autopilot until the final drop of fuel was gone. For 16 months, the satellite data stood alone. The search relied entirely on digital calculations, without a single piece of physical wreckage to confirm where the plane had gone. The southern Indian Ocean is dominated by the Indian Ocean Gyre, a massive, rotating system of currents that acts as a slow-moving conveyor belt for anything floating on the surface. In July 2015, the gyre delivered its first piece of evidence. A massive wing component, a flaperon, washed ashore on Reunion Island, 4,000 kilometers west of the primary search zone. Serial numbers on the part matched the manufacturing records for the specific aircraft. It was the first undeniable physical proof that the flight had ended in the ocean. More debris was soon found along the coasts of Madagascar and the shores of Tanzania. These pieces were heavily damaged, showing shredded metal and exposed lightning strike mesh torn from the airframe. Forensic analysis of this damage showed the metal had been sliced from the inside out. A controlled ditching on the water would compress the airframe inward. Outward shredding indicates the aircraft entered the water with immense, violent kinetic force. The physical debris corroborated with the digital data implied. The flight did not end with a gentle descent, but with a catastrophic, high-speed impact into the ocean. The scale of the response was without precedent. It became the most expensive underwater search in human history, costing over $160 million. Search teams scanned 120,000 square kilometers of rugged seafloor, using autonomous submarines to map mountains and trenches miles beneath the surface. Despite this effort, the main fuselage and the black boxes have never been found. The lack of a final resting place remains a heavy burden for the families of the 239 people on board, leaving them in a world of theories without closure. The disaster exposed significant gaps in how we track aircraft. In the years since, international mandates have been put in place for continuous tracking over open oceans, ensuring that no flight can ever be lost in the same way again. We may never know who took the plane or what their motivation was, but through the forensic reconstruction of radar, satellite pings, and shattered metal, we know the mechanics of how it happened. MH370 attempted to erase itself from existence, only to be betrayed by the invisible digital echoes and the shattered metal it left behind.